Welcome back to New England Living. Up next, we're cooking up risotto and scallops with two of Boston's best chefs. We're here at the Clark Sub-Zero and Wolf showroom, and I am joined by chefs Jesus Arevalo and Matt King. And you're with Strega, so I know I'm getting some delicious Italian today. What are we making?
Absolutely. So we're going to make a great scallop dish. We're going to use some beautiful scallops from New Bedford. We're going to make a pea and pancetta risotto. This is a great northern Italian dish, really focusing on some ingredients around spring, the sweetness of the peas and the beautiful sweet scallops.
Yum. And you have the ingredients for the risotto over there. I see a lot of butter, so I'm liking this dish already. What do you have?
What we're gonna do, we're gonna start with some olive oil, the sliced garlic, shallots, and then slowly we're gonna start mixing the pancetta. We're gonna cook for like a minute or two to get this crispness, richness of the fat of the pancetta. And then we're gonna throw the risotto in there to cook it for like a minute or two. And then we're gonna add some liquid to it. So it's gonna take at least 25 to 30 minutes till it's done.
And while you're working on that, Matt, risotto is one of those dishes, it can be intimidating to make this at home. What's your advice for the home cook?
It gets a bad rap, right?
It does.
Like it's not as hard as it seems. It's just taking your time and mixing it occasionally and the right ratio of liquid to rice. Jesus is all over it. He's gonna take care of us.
Smelling good already. And while he's doing that, you have some scallops for us. How did you go about selecting these?
So these are a U10, which refers to the size. If you were in a grocery store, they'd probably be referred to as a colossal. They're from New Bedford. They were just harvested yesterday. They've got a great sweetness to them. All we're gonna do is we're gonna season these with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're gonna get that nice, perfect golden brown sear.
Talking about that golden brown sear, that's the goal every time. What's the big secret to getting that?
So you've got to preheat your pan. You need to have your pan hot, but not scorching hot. That way you can leave them still long enough to get the golden brown and not burned.
I love that sound, that little sizzle.
We're gonna put them in here, and then we're gonna do nothing. Just sit here and just watch them do their own thing.
We'll watch Jesus at work over here on the risotto. And what are you doing?
So right now, as you see, I already started with the olive oil, garlic, shallots, and now I incorporate the risotto. So we're gonna mix this a little bit with the olive oil and the fat of the pancetta. We're gonna add a little bit of the white wine.
And risotto, the myth that you have to constantly stir that, true or false?
You do not need to constantly stir it. While a wooden spoon is best, it'll still work if you use a rubber spatula.
And final step, you're gonna add the stock here.
Yep.
And Matt, how are the scallops looking?
What I'm looking at with the scallops, you can see them starting to brown around the edge, and you can see the color changing as they kind of go up the scallop. I like to leave them until you see that color change go up like halfway up the scallop. Then we're really just gonna flip them over and give them just a little kiss on the other side, and they'll be done.
The smell, I'm loving this right now.
What I'm gonna do with this to create just like a little sauce, I'll just deglaze it with a tiny bit of chicken stock, and we'll add a little bit of butter to it.
Jesus, risotto is one of those dishes that is always on the menu at Strega, but you change it up depending on the season, so what else can we add to this?
You can make a lot of risotto multiple different ways. You can do mushroom risotto. You can do acorn squash risotto. So we try to do by season. So you have so many options. You can do whatever you want.
Lots of ways to spice it up, I love it. How are we looking over here?
We are just about done with our scallops. I've just added a little bit of chicken stock to them, just to deglaze it, get that nice flavor off the bottom of the pan. A little bit of butter to kind of thicken that up.
Yum.
And then that'll be a sauce.
All right, the magic of TV, normally this would take about 30 minutes, right? We have a finished version here of the risotto, we have the scallops. What's the next step?
Jesus has a pea puree. This is just a mixture of some fresh peas, a little bit of spinach, some shallots, some garlic, and a little bit of chicken stock. We're gonna use that to incorporate the pea flavor throughout all of the risotto.
Something healthy to go along with all the butter we put in there, right?
Exactly. You gotta help make it a little bit more healthy. And then we're gonna finish it in the end by adding just a little bit of fresh peas for the texture.
Not only am I loving the smell, but I'm loving the color of this dish. I've never seen a green risotto like that.
It does two things. It's gonna take the flavor of the peas and spread it throughout, but it also creates this great color. It's a nice contrast to the caramelized scallops.
The moment we've been waiting for, time to plate. What's the key here?
Really just kind of keeping it nice and clean and tight, right? So we're gonna use the risotto as a base, and then we're gonna top it with some of these scallops.
And the contrasting color of the scallops versus the risotto, that's pretty awesome.
Right, that just kind of makes the dish look so much more interesting.
And just a simple way for people to elevate risotto at home.
Chef Jesus has a little bit of pancetta for some garnish.
Oh, there we go. I am dying to try this. Do you mind handing me a fork?
Not at all.
And while I dig in here, Matt, you picked the perfect wine to go along with this dish. Why did you choose that one?
So we've got Cloudy Bay's Marlborough Pinot Noir. This is a really, really well-balanced wine, very delicate. It's got some smooth tannins to it, a little bit of wood, a little bit of smoke. It's gonna go really, really well with the sweetness of the scallops and a little bit of that richness from the pancetta.
Jesus, this risotto tastes amazing. These scallops look incredible. I can't wait to try those too. And you can try this recipe at home by going to cbsboston.com/New England Living. Don't be afraid to try risotto at home, right guys?
Not at all.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.